Hey guys, I am JD Schaumburg from Online Resources, and I'm here with our new team member Nate, and we are looking at the unboxing and setup of the Hyperscan Ultra from Hexagon. So let's go take a look.
First thing I notice after dealing with these for a little bit of time is that there's only one box that's sitting right here.
That is true.
Cool. I know in the past, if you dealt with it, you have one box and then another box, and it gets really difficult to take through the airport or to set up. Just kind of a pain. Nice that they've been able to kind of reduce down the footprint. So
yeah,
let's go ahead and open her up and see what we're dealing with.
Okay, so a lot going on.
Yes.
Start with the paperwork. We have your basic certificate, calibration, packing list, and just some how-tos, setups, stuff like that.
Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah. The first thing I noticed, though, was really the tracker here. It is tiny. So I like the handle that it has. It's almost like half the size of what we're used to.
It definitely looks smaller. From a weight perspective, I'd call it, I don't know, 2/3?
Yeah.
Definitely a little bit easier to maneuver around.
And then, so we have, it looks like on the front, some LED lights, indicator lights. The bottom, standard plate for tripods or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then looks like an Ethernet power and data cable. So nice clean little system there. I really like that handle, easy to move around.
You know what I'm noticing here is that I'm not seeing a controller for this thing. Do you know if we're missing it or where is it?
No, so that is one of the cool things of the system. Okay. So it has, as we walk through the cables here, it is straight USB into the computer.
Oh.
We don't have an extra controller computer to deal with now. We just have these USB power cables. One goes to the tracker, one goes to the scanner. And as I'm moving through here, we have the power brick, and it looks like a splitter for the power. So that should just click in there. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's going to be a splitter for the power, so you just have one power brick. That's nice.
I think we figured out how they were able to cut down on space.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the
controller
unit.
And then just something nice. It's little, but it's a nice, I'll call it a thoughtful detail, is just giving you a USB-C to a USB
connect all your USBs
connectors.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're gonna have two things plugged in, you run out of space on your laptop or your desktop pretty rapidly.
Yep. And then we have some target dots. Looks like 6mm targets. Some 16mm targets.
I guess just for clarity, do we have to use those tracking dots to be able to scan?
No.
Okay.
So these are going to be used, the scanner itself is being tracked by the tracker with these target dots.
Okay.
But if you wanted to move the scanner, and let's say you're next to a stamping machine that you're getting big vibrations, you're going to be able to track those vibrations and calibrate the difference and still get good accurate data. Okay. So you don't get these like waves in your data, which is nice.
Nice feature.
Then we have some USBs. I'm guessing that's where like the license files, maybe some training how-tos stuff are located. And then moving on, we have Wi-Fi. So we do have a Wi-Fi. This is a wireless system, but we'll be making a video about that later on.
Okay.
So, and then the scanner. It's really cool. Immediately, it's a lot smaller. But still I have pretty good ease of use with it. And then
it seems like a one-piece construction. I know some others that I've seen, it seems like these bridges and gaps are filled in by many parts.
Yeah, like a hub and spoke connection.
Exactly. It seems like we've gotten away from that.
Yeah, this really does look like it's a single molded frame, which is really nice. I think makes it feel a lot more rigid and durable. And then I'm also noticing standard kind of things we usually see, some LED panels there. It looks like there's one around the center button, then the center with your left, right, up, down controls, and then your power and your data.
So probably similar to like what you see on the actual tracker itself, just some status indicators maybe for when you're scanning, so you know that you're in the right distance to be able to pick up data.
Yeah, I think so. And then I'm noticing there are a lot of laser windows here. So I'm expecting this thing to have a pretty big, pretty large amount of lasers and be very fast. So it's going to be exciting to check out.
Very cool. Well, to pair with the hand scanner that JD just showed, one thing you have to do when you have these systems is you have to be able to calibrate them. So underneath the tracker, underneath all the cables, you actually have a calibration plate. So I'm sure you all have seen it before, but to be able to use the tracker in an accurate manner, you have to be able to calibrate it. So that sits underneath the actual scanner itself. That takes care of the, I guess, the base of the case. Coming up into the lid of the case, there's a couple more things to look at. So what I have right here is actually the calibration bar. So the calibration bar, you have the calibration plate to get the hand scanner calibrated. This one is actually what you're going to use to go about calibrating the scanner itself. So really robust. What I like is they've got these protective covers on them. Not that these things are the most fragile, but for transit, you want to be able to protect it. Yeah, it's a nice feature to have in there.
It's a nice durable covering there.
Yes.
And then just like a standard, it looks like a carbon fiber.
Yeah, it's light, it's movable. And then the last thing to be able to get this thing set up. What we've got here is the tripod stand. So tripod helps us be pretty mobile. You also have the ability to take off the actual mounting head, and you could, mount it to the wall like we have here in the shop, or you can keep it on this stand so you can be mobile with the unit. So that takes care of everything that's actually included inside of the box. We're gonna go about getting this thing set up and show you guys how to work it.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's go ahead and set things up. I'm gonna start with a computer. I have already downloaded the software on here, so we'll go ahead and use that dongle and plug this USB adapter in. And we'll just go to the software and open that up.
And while JD's working through that, I'll go through getting the tripod set up. So it's pretty simple. Loosen each leg, extend it out to the length that you want it to be at. One thing to note, and I've seen it happen, make sure you tighten these down. The last thing you want to have happen is to set it up and then have your tracker drop. Would not be a fun thing to try and send in to get fixed. So you set it up like so. And then you grab the tracking head itself. There's a little pin that actually helps you out with alignment. So you set that pin. Once you get it into that slot, it should actually snap into place. And then I'll walk you through kind of what I'm doing for cabling on the back side. One thing that I think it makes this a little bit easier is that you have two communication and power cables. They're actually the exact same cable. So it does not matter which one. The one that goes for the tracker can go for the tracker, or it can actually go for the hand scanner itself. So in the back of the back of the tracker itself, you're going to put this printer looking like cable into one port, and then the power will go into the other. There's a little red dot that aligns you. That's going to face straight up, and then once you get that aligned, it'll snap right into place. You're not going to be worried about bending pins or actually breaking the connection. I'll hand that off to JD. Then you follow the exact same process for the hand scanner itself. So you'll put your printer style cable into one port, align that red dot up, and now that's connected, and then JD will plug that in so we can get it registered in the software.
So on over here, we're just doing the same thing. The splitter that we saw, just align those red dots, they click into place, and we can plug that USB right in. So the connection right now is going to be the power source to a splitter to two USBs plugged right into the computer. So pretty simple, easy and clear, and then we should be ready to go ahead and scan. So if we go ahead and grab this, we have some hand controls, those buttons that we talked about on the back, it's right by your thumb. So if you double click, we'll go into what's called a scan group, and we'll scan the surface. So once we hear that, we can go ahead and start the scanning. And we notice that we're just not picking up that much data. So this is a black shiny hood. That is notorious in scanning world for the least favorite kind of surface quality to collect. But we can go ahead in there and into those hand controls and actually increase the shutter speed. So I just kind of know what black shiny does, so I'm going to put it around like 3 to 4, somewhere in there. And when we start scanning again, you're going to see we collect a lot of data pretty fast.
Now, if you were doing, like, let's say you were doing like a cast or like a more matte colored part, would you just do the exact opposite of what you just did right there?
Yeah, so shutter speed, black shiny, you want it higher, like a matte gray finish, you want it lower shutter speed. Okay. So the other thing, I don't really like being zoomed up this close, so I'm going to toggle to my view and just zoom out so we can see this hood come to life. So now that we're there, we'll go ahead and start scanning.
Now, right now, we're about, what would you say, 10 feet or so away from this hood to be able to scan? What's like the upper limit of how far away we could get?
Yeah, this can go upwards of like 7 meters away. Okay. Maybe even a little further than that.
Okay.
It has a huge volume. So that's one of the things that's a good point to chat about is the volume of this is kind of a parabolic extrusion. So we're getting the closest volume now, which is about like 12 cubic meters. It can go up to 50 cubic meters.
Oh, wow.
With an accuracy of up to like 90 microns. It's absolutely insane the volume that this small tracker can do, and is really what drew us to this kind of technology.
Now, I'm noticing that the way that you're scanning right now, you're a certain distance away from this to be able to capture data. Is there kind of like is there a Goldilocks zone of how far you need to have the scanner away from the part?
Great question. So on the scanner itself, it's about 12 to 16 inches away.
Okay.
And on the scanner itself, you have those LED lights that we talked about. And it also shows it on the screen. So as you're scanning, green is the good zone, red is too close, and then blue is too far away. So we see it on the computer screen and the LED screen here. Light. So, I mean, we are done with the hood. That's pretty much what we have to do. So when we're finished, we can either go through the hand controls.
Okay.
It also has voice controls.
Oh.
Little cheesy.
Okay.
I'm gonna admit it, but it's actually been really nice. So if I just say, hey, Hyper, finalize. And it does the data.
Now, you say cheesy, but the way that I look at it is you can speak that, I think, a lot faster than you can go through and click. So from an efficiency standpoint, I think if you could get, I don't know, the 5 or 10 commands that are going to get you dangerous with this software, it's going to really help you do this a heck of a lot faster.
It really does. And so it's a nice feature. I like it. I will make fun of it. I feel a little cheesy using it, but it really is nice just to like set things down and for like, oh, I need to finalize this while I'm doing something else. So it is nice. So that's really it. Let's take a look at the data, and we can see.
What I think is really cool is off that one scan, you can pick up on the dents from that hail damage that you mentioned, just off the one.
Yeah, and simple things like, oh man, I didn't collect enough data. I can go down and say, hey Hyper, scan surface.
Now, I guess one thing to point out, the reason you might not collect data, it could be that you were scanning too quickly, it could be that you were too far away. Another thing that I think people struggle with, especially as like a newer user, is this operates on a principle of line of sight. So if the camera isn't able to see the actual hand tracker itself, you're not going to be able to collect data. So good rule of thumb, if you're getting bad data, or you seem like you're passing over the same spot over and over again and it's not populating on your scan, you might just be standing in the way of it. And JD's been doing it for a really long time, so he's pretty good at doing the dance around the part. If you're not catching data, maybe take a look at what you might be blocking from the camera's view to try and complete the scan more efficiently.
Yep, that's correct. So we can go right back in and collect more data, fill in those holes. Super easy to get this stuff. So that's pretty much the setup and first steps use of the Hyperscan Ultra. We are going to be going over like calibration, and we'll calibrate the whole system for you guys in a separate video. The wireless setup, we're going to go through that setup as well. But right now we just want you guys to have all the information to just get going. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to us. Happy to answer, and definitely check out those other videos on the Hyperscan. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.